Manifesting an SP, the most popular subject in regards to manifestations, right? The most sought after desire. What I think really gets in the way with a lot of people manifesting an SP, and I already made another video about this on my channel, but what I think really gets in the way for a lot of people is not that they're doing a technique incorrectly. It's not that their visualizations aren't vivid enough. It's that they have this idea, this belief that because somebody else manifested their SP a certain way and that it's not working out the same for them, then that must mean that manifestation does not work. And therefore, they give up. But little do you know that giving up takes the root out of the planted seed, and the plant itself dies. The birth of the baby, so to speak, of this manifestation has a miscarriage in the process of its birth, in the process of its formation. And whenever you decide, oh, well, Noobmaster69 on Reddit manifested his SP, and it was an ex that he hasn't seen in 15 years, and the second he did 1 day of robotic affirmations, the next day he woke up with a flooding of texts and love letters, and his ex telling him how much she loved him. Well, first of all, two things, right? One, you never really know if those obnoxious fucking stories are actually real, right? And I know this is going to be a controversial take, but let's be fair here. If you're going to base your reality off of somebody else's, yet you don't necessarily know the truth, is it really worth it when you just simply don't know the truth? They could be lying. A lot of people will like to just make Reddit accounts and post bullshit just to get upvotes. I mean, you never know. There's a lot of crazy people out there. And maybe there's some sort of compensation on Reddit that I'm not even aware about, right? But the point I'm trying to make is don't base it off of somebody else, because here's another thing too. Whenever you look at success stories online, okay? And this is going to be real talk right here. Whenever you look at success stories online, if you really are a CIA agent about their story and you really dig deep, most of the times when they manifest their SP, how many times do you see that they actually got married? Or they actually are in the serious relationship, right? Some of them, yes, right? Some of them you hear the story of where they went from being ghosted on all platforms to all of a sudden they are engaged, right? But you see, even when you hear about the manifestations of SPs and they are engaged now, I mean, I hate to say, I hate to be that guy, right? But how many times do people get into engagements and then the engagement is off, right? Or they slip back to the old patterns, right? So what I'm getting at is not to make you think that actually the success stories are bullshit, but what I'm talking about is this. Let's say you go on Reddit or you have a favorite YouTuber who reads you these success stories and it motivates you and it makes you think, I wish that was me. Let's say you hear that they manifested their SP, right? I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 when they manifested their SP, they are not actually in the end goal. They just got the text. It took them 24 hours to get the text, or a month or two to get their ex to start contacting them again. And when they send this success story over to the content creator, and the content creator says, this guy manifested his SP against all odds. And then you listen to the story, and it was just that he was blocked, and then all of a sudden he got unblocked. But when you really dig deep into the story, there's still work to be done. Are y'all catching my drift here? So what actually happened is not that he got the end goal in 24 hours. But what happened is that he got movement in 24 hours, which still is a success story. Because like Joseph Eli, I don't know if you guys watch his stuff, and I know that he has got this from Neville and stuff, but I really like systematic manifesting, I think what his YouTube channel is. Systematic Manifestations by Joseph Eli, the husband, I believe, of Athena Raven. Two YouTubers that I really love. I have like a whole handful of manifesting coaches that I really look up to. And one of the things I like about his videos is how he talks about that there are ways that you can know that your manifestation is coming. And one of them is when you see signs that correlate to the specific manifestation that you have, that you are seeking, showing up in your 3D before the actual end result. So if you want an SP and you had an imaginal act that you guys were, I don't know, kissing at the mall, you might be browsing through TV one night feeling like watching a movie, and in the movie the next day you're watching, in the movie there's a scene where two characters are kissing in the mall. Now obviously those two characters are not you, but if you see coincidences, that's another way to say it, if you see coincidences of your imaginal act, of the affirmations that you're saying, that is a clear sign that it is on the way. Just like the Bible talks about that there are signs of the end times. If you see coincidences correlating to the imaginal act, to your manifestation, that is a sign that it's coming. So when you listen to 90% of success stories that all these manifestation coaches are sharing with their people, 9 times out of 10, they are not actually sharing the end goal. They are sharing a movement. Because even if it's a situation where they are trying to manifest marriage with their ex, 9 times out of 10, the success stories are just that they are finally in the talking stage with their ex, or they're in a relationship, but remember, they still don't have the ring, right? So when you actually look at these people's stories, when they actually get to having that marriage ring on their finger and actually being in the marriage after the matrimony fucking ceremony, okay, that might come 1 to 2 years after they actually got that text, or after they got that success story. So in other words, if that's the case, then there's a huge possibility that the same could happen if you are not trying to manifest a relationship, but you're just trying to manifest a text. And I might be going all over the place with this, but the reason why I bring that up is because I'm not going to be that manifesting coach who just goes by the norm. I know that there's some of you who actually might not be necessarily trying to manifest marriage. Maybe you guys are trying to manifest a friends with benefits situation. Maybe you don't feel like you're ready for commitment, but there is a really hot girl at your gym, or a really hot guy in your classroom. I don't know. Hopefully you're not a fucking teacher, but then again, hey, I don't know how many times I had to get HR involved in my life. But either ways, maybe you want something more scandalous, right? Let's be real here. I'm not trying to, leave you guys out. And if you're seeing that those people who are trying to manifest marriage are not actually getting the end goal right away, then shouldn't you also expect that there's a possibility that you might have to wait 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but you see, this actually should be very good news. Because what this means is that if you have an imaginal act, if you really put that desire out there into your subconscious, into your 4D, and allow it to plant the seed and eventually get it reflected in the 3D, then you can sit back and relax, and no matter what circumstances the 3D is showing you, because after all, it's just a recycling of old assumptions. It's not actually a reflection of what you just did right now. Your mind has been imagining for all the previous 30 years of your life. So you have to expect that there's going to be delays, because most likely if you're barely imagining now, you got some catching up to do, okay? Right? If you order something on Amazon right here today, but you already had 5 orders from the previous week, which one's going to come first? It's the same way with assumptions, right? Now, I do believe that there are sometimes that you can jump the line if you really have a strong fucking powerful affirmation, like self-pedestalizations, like I talk about in another video. Look up manifesting a specific person, SP kisses your ass. That is a extremely good video that talks about this. Or you can look up any of my SP videos, and it talks about this self-pedestalization, where it's basically you make affirmations, not just I have SP, I'm in the relationship of my dreams. It is where you put yourself on the pedestal and you say affirmations so crazy, so obnoxious, so narcissistic and ridiculous that you feel this sensation of what the fuck. And it is such a fucking crazy affirmation, and it gives you this sort of what the fuck feeling that it is enough to supercharge your subconscious, and you will feel a shift automatically, whether it's good or bad. So that to me is like spark plugs when you really need a boost and your car's not running properly. Those are your spark plugs right there. But getting back to manifesting the SP, when you realize that everything is the old assumption, right, then you're going to realize that when there's quote unquote delays, it's not actually delays. It is just old assumptions. And therefore, this concept of time and this concept of I still have to wait for my manifestation to arrive is actually bullshit. And just because you hear about a success story where they manifest their SP in 5 days does not mean that if you don't get your manifestation in 5 days that you did something wrong. That is where everybody fucks up. That's what I used to do. I used to affirm, and I used to say, okay, me and SP are in the relationship of our dreams, and peekaboo. Is she here yet? Oh, okay, let me go back again. Oh, I am the man. I am abundance. I am love. I am perfection. And okay, boom, there you are. It's like, no, dude, you don't fucking play peekaboo with your manifestations, okay? Look, you have to get to the point where you believe in this shit so strongly that you can go in your imagination right here, feel it to be real, and just like when you come home after a great night of fucking sex, okay, is the same way that you can come back from your imagination, come back from your 40 and feel like you already done it, because you already did. Because you got to remember one thing: if you are not the mind, if you're not the body, then everything that you see here, the 3D circumstances where you don't have SP, where you are waiting for them to come, is actually just an illusion. So if you can believe that the perception is real, the 3D, the person that you see in the mirror is your actual identity, even though I'm telling you that you're not the mind, that you're not the body, if you can actually believe that for all the 30 years of your life, then I guarantee you that you can believe in another illusion. But this time, not in the 3D, but up here in the 4D. So all you got to do is go in the 4D and imagine yourself and ask yourself one question, because whatever you ask to your subconscious, you are asking to your higher self, and whatever your higher self gives you, you shall accept it as truth. So when you go in your imagination, ask yourself, what would the version of me who looks the same, who has the same flaws, who has the fucking ugly mole on the back of my neck, what would my life look like if I had all of that, but the only difference is I have the SP and the money of my dreams? How would I brush my teeth in the morning? How would my drive to work feel like? Will I be groggy and depressed? Or will I be energetic and motivated because I know I'm going to get some poo-tang later on tonight? I'll tell you this, the sun shines brighter, the coffee tastes stronger, the smile on my face feels unforced whenever I am extremely happy in my dating life, if I'm being honest with you. And whether or not that's me putting love on a pedestal, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, when you go into your imagination and you ask yourself that question, don't try to say, what do I have to do to get it? No, simply go in the insight and say, what imagination, what will my life feel like? What sensations would I be having when I'm drinking that coffee and I know that I have SP? When I'm watching my favorite show and I'm not distracted by the fact that she still has me blocked on WhatsApp? No. How would it feel like to constantly get the zzz, zzz? Oh, there she is again. Zzz, zzz. Oh man, she wants to see me. We just got back from a date 2 hours ago. You know? Get creative with it. Whatever creative idea comes in your imagination in the first place is just something coming from your higher self. Therefore, it's not just some sort of weird idea that comes in your mind, like if you're some sort of painter trying to paint the next Mona Lisa. No, whatever comes in your imagination after you ask that question, and if it's not interrupted by the ego, which is best when you can say it best when you can imagine it in a relaxed state, although you don't have to be necessarily asleep. But when you're either on your way to bed, or whether you are daydreaming, waiting in the line at the DMV, use that imaginal act to your advantage. A lot of people think that you have to have this crazy sat session in order to visualize. You can. I believe that if you're going to have a very forced type of visualization, it's I think better to approach it as, I really miss SP. I really desire SP right now. I want to see them. But even if they have you blocked on all platforms, but you want to see them, just go in your 4D and boom. Imagine that you guys are having hot sex right here, right now. It doesn't have to be a whole 20-minute movie, a fucking 10-minute, movie of corn, but just imagine the feeling of their skin as you two cuddle with each other. Imagine the feeling of their lips as you guys are kissing, right? Even if it's a 2-second feeling, if you can actually feel that, and you can actually feel the feeling, the dopamine hit, it will make an impression on your subconscious. And to be honest with you, you only have to do it once, and that is enough for you to expect the manifestation to come. But the point is just because you don't see results right away does not mean that you did anything wrong. It means that there is still manifestations from your former self manifesting. But trust me, if you make an impression on the subconscious, whether it's through self-pedestalization, whether it's through an imaginal act, there's no right or wrong way as long as you hit the subconscious, which is the Father in heaven. The Father in heaven is just your consciousness awareness, which is what you are. You are God, you are source. And when you make an impression on that awareness, it will have to be reflected. Everything that you see in your 3D is a reflection of all that you were putting in your consciousness awareness that you didn't even realize that you were doing. So now that you realize what you were doing, use it to your advantage. I am Neil Larthos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.